Okay. Is this your first commercial for Urban Scholar?
No, sweetie.
Oh,
5 years.
okay.
We 5 years in business. You know that.
No, I said commercial. Well, like commercial. This, anyways. Alhamdulillah.
Nah.
Okay.
Go on World Star. We got millions of views on there.
You got to tell these people because, some of us don't know. For those who are
Yeah.
first getting introduced to you now, that's all I'm saying. Okay?
Well, the Urban Scholar, we've been featured in rap music videos. We've done commercials, locally from New Jersey, Atlanta. The brand is pretty much international. We in pretty much just about every state, Dubai, Denmark. We've been doing this for a minute. So
Right on.
we're gonna talk about
Okay.
you. So
Okay. We're going to talk
tell me
about you.
a little bit about what the show is about, because I'm not familiar
Okay.
with it.
Okay. So this is about promoting like for like harmonies in the Ummah. Not trying to connect just on I think you a good Muslim levels, but there's other things that make up the compatibility factor that I think we need to be focused on.
But this is a relationship-based podcast.
Well, yes.
Okay.
So, okay. So, my first question, can you please tell us your name, your age, your location, and what you do for a living?
My name is Yusuf Spencer. I'm located in New Jersey, born and raised. I currently work for the state of New Jersey.
What do you do for the state of New Jersey?
I work in children and families. I help families, children and families.
How did you get into that?
I've been in this field since 1994. So I came in as a mentor. So I've worked in residential settings with youth and adults for years. I used to run halfway houses. I was the guy that created the culture and programs and ran the operations for years. And left that, went to grad school when I was 35, got my master's in human services and counseling. That's when you met me back. I was out in Philly at the time. So that's what I was out there doing. I was going to school, grinding. When I got out of school, I became a family therapist in Philly. And then after a year and a half, they promoted me to a director. So I was running programs where I managed psychiatrists and master's level therapists. And we provided treatment and, psychiatric care out there in that community. So, and then fast forward, back in 2012, I returned back here to New Jersey after my mom passed away from cancer. So, and I've been back here ever since and went back to work in the private sector, didn't like it. Opportunity came for me to work for the state and I took it. So this is what I've been doing now. And a year after I started with the state, I launched Urban Scholar here.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's pretty much what I do. I work and I grind and I make people happy. You know what I mean?
Yes. What's your favorite part of the day? How do you specifically, or does that involve making people happy?
This is I discovered years ago helping people is a passion. It's what I was called for. So the thing is with the clothes, I didn't do this because I wanted to compete with Tommy Hill and all those guys. I did it because there was another form of expression and helping people feel good about themselves. And the reality is I'm the urban scholar. It's my story. So through my brand, I tell my story.
Mm-hmm.
So what I put out is a reflection of me, not anybody else. So, I came up in the trenches. I used to be in the streets. And I left the streets, alhamdulillah, because of Islam when I was 21. And when I transitioned, right before I transitioned to Philly in 2006, I came up with the name, the concept urban scholar in my head. And I never did anything with it. I had some friends that was like, yo, you should let me use that name. And I was like, nah, we're not doing that. So long story short, I had knew I was going to start an agency or a company named Urban Scholar. I had no idea it was going to be a clothing brand. So this wasn't planned. So when I got back to New Jersey, 2012, I worked, handled my business. And then when I started working for the state, I remember one day I was about to go to Atlanta. And I said, you know what? I called my IT guy. I said, yo, I'm ready to do Urban Scholar. He says, you want me to do the logos? Yeah. I said, I'll be back in a week. Had the logo ready. I came back, he had 4 logos. I never looked back. I went and got a t-shirt and hats done, and I never looked back. So it wasn't like nothing written out, planned that I was going to do this. It just one day when I woke up, I said, this is what I'm going to do. So, and it's like I said, it's telling my story because I left the streets and now I'm on this side. And there was also that period in Philly when you met me, I was part of a sports franchise on the ownership side. And I was plugged in with some people in California, and we was trying to bring rugby to the forefront. They wanted to make rugby a professional sport. And I got recruited by some people. And the person that recruited me, she was operating as a criminal, and none of us knew it. So she tried some funny business. It didn't work. And because I came in through her, my partnership, expired when she went underground running because she owed tens of millions of dollars to our other partner. So that kind of helped my decision to leave Philly. It was like, yeah, it's time for me to get out of here. Wow. And that's when I came back to New Jersey. So, I was in Philly. They was like, why are you still working? You're rich, They were shopping for Maseratis, doing all kinds of things. And I was like, I'm not rich. You guys are. You know what I mean? I said, so the money's hit my bank account. And I see these millions. It's not real for me. You know what I mean? And honestly, I didn't trust her. I'm a gut person. So I tried to warn them, and they said, oh, relax, don't worry about it. We got this. And even hindsight 2020, they contacted me. It was like, you was right. You tried to warn us. So, but that company, it didn't take off because of that setback. So, but, they're still in business to this day. And, obviously that's not my area of expertise, rugby. So we just maintained the friendship and that was it. But what I learned from that was big business. So it just was a no-brainer for me to launch my own. And I wasn't unfamiliar to business, but I've never embarked upon something of this magnitude to where now I'm looking for partnerships. I'm looking for licensing deals with major brands and things like that. I was in contact with the president of Yeezy Gap earlier this year. We were in communications for a couple minutes, and you see where that direction went for Kanye. So, okay. I don't believe in the sky's the limit. I believe that there's no limits. Whatever you think you can do it.
I mean, so, what's most important in a partnership with a spouse?
Loyalty and trust. And commitment. You have to, in Islam, you have to be committed to this. It's life, or it's going to be a disaster. So if you don't agree on Tawheed and how you live that, right? You don't have, as a Muslim, you don't have anything. You might as well go back to the hood and date Shaquan and all that. You know what I mean? And that's what it's going to be. So, and you got to be healed. You got to be wanting to be healed. And a lot of us, and I'll say us, are not healed, and we're in marriages.
What do you think prevents us from healing? Like, what do you think is blocking the healing?
Our
And what do you
culture,
think?
our culture. There's a belief in our culture that getting help, especially for men, is you're frowned. It's frowned upon, and black men are not taught to be vulnerable. It's a sign of weakness to black men, right? Because
Yeah,
you know, the man is supposed to be the head, right? So, but what I see going on is you can have somebody that's educated, you can have somebody that's, somewhat serious about Islam, right? But there's some broken pieces in them. So even if the head is straight, if you haven't addressed your stuff, right,
hmm,
it's still going to be calamity because there's no way for y'all to be on that same page of Tawheed. And what makes it really interesting for us, because as black people, right, we take on everybody else's cultures and ways, right? So, and we look like I'm from New Jersey, right? And I remember being in Philly and being in groups with everybody, and people were from different areas, and we would I would call people from DC and all that, Bamas and all that. Like we would have these labels for each other, right? And it was all said in fun, but it was like we all Bamas, but like if you were from a certain part of the country, we labeled. Like we looked at like there was a separation, and we didn't realize that we were separating ourselves from each other, right? So that's a big problem in our culture where we indirectly or unconsciously, subconsciously do that to each other. Where you from? Oh, you from DMV? Oh, hell no, y'all Bama's crazy. Oh, you from Philly? Oh, nah, y'all like, y'all, you from here. So like we have so many obstacles that have been created. It's damn near impossible to get to the core. So you have people getting married in and out of marriages because they're not even trying to get to the core. They don't have the opportunity to do that. You know what I mean? So then
right.
it's all this blame stuff going on when it's all of us. Communally, it's all of us. And because depending on where you live, that's who you attach to Islamically, culturally. So if you're in an area where there's immigrants, right, then you're
Hmm.
more than likely subscribing to their cultures. If you're in the hood, right, you're subscribing probably to Salafis and things like that. Or what's the other one? The Masjid Allah, the community that comes from the Nation of Islam. Like, and we're all looking at each other like, this one is saying you're a deviant, this one's saying y'all deviants. Like, so we come in with division, right? So
Hmm.
we never have a chance at success because we're already self-defeated before we even start. And I don't believe in you're from this and you're from that, but I feel like we're at such a disadvantage because we're trying to mimic other communities and other people. We're trying to talk like them. You know what I mean? Dudes, you got a seventh grade education trying to sound like you from Medina. You know what I mean?
But I mean, people fake French accents and it's sophisticated. So like maybe they like to roll their R's with the Arabic, you know,
Yeah.
maybe that's what saves them. Maybe that's what they feel
So,
saves them
but this
from a
is the
version of
point.
themselves that was,
So,
even more unlikable.
yeah, but this is the point, right? You can't, because I've had friends that are not Muslim develop different identities when they got older, right? And start associating with different cultures that they wasn't from,
Hmm.
right? So it's not just a Muslim thing, right? I'm
It's
talking
not
about
right.
Black culture, right? Our culture, growing up in America. We feel like we have to fit in somebody else's because we don't know who we are. Some of us don't know if our ancestors come from another country or we were already here. You know what I'm saying? So these are our struggles. But my point to you is I'm not bringing these things up to make fun of. You asked a question about what are the most important things, right? The most important thing is knowledge itself,
Okay. Because I was
right?
about to ask. Yeah, I was about to ask, how would the ideal sister, the person that you're looking to inshallah end things with, how would she fit into the picture of urban scholar and like what you represent?
Well,
Are we all
I don't think
compatible?
I said my age. I'm 50.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be
Okay.
51. I'll be 51 in January, right? Been married a couple of times, right?
Okay.
I'm married now. So, and the problem that I find for me is I got married at different stages in my life because growing up here Muslim, you learn, you grow, and you change, right? And sometimes it's for the good, sometimes it's for the better. And it's not, right? So we're constantly going through stages. So it's what's important is that the person that you're with understands, we understand each other's stages. And if you can't get the understanding of it, it's just going to be a struggle, right? Because it becomes a tug of war. You don't understand me. You're not listening to me, right? And it becomes this war about who's trying to understand who, right? That's what it's been for me. It's been a struggle because every 5 years, I think I got to figure it out about who I want, right? And what she looks like. And I don't even know if that's logical or realistic. The main ingredient for me, like I said, is understanding I'm a self-driven person, always have. So if you're not self-driven, like if you don't embody that kind of stuff, and you're not a person where you're trying to seek knowledge to evolve, I struggle in those relationships because a lot of people are what I call 9 to 5ers. They get up on Monday, they have the same routine, they go to work, do all the things in between, come home, and that's it. There's no drive to go anywhere. Where me, I've been doing this since I was in my 20s. I've been trying to be successful at business. I've always taken chances. You know what I mean? And so I don't even know if I can handle another me, but in my mind, I believe that that's what I want. You know what I mean? Or somebody who deeply understands how to be in that type of relationship with someone driven like myself. Because at my age, I want the success. Like, no, what I want it. I want it. Like I want to be successful in the next life. Like I want it. I want it all, and I feel like I can have it all.
What preparations do you make for success in the next life?
Practicing the sunnah as best as you can. You know, the
Okay.
Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, so he says, Iman goes up and down. So you have to know that whatever phase you're in Islam and in your life and in your journey, the stages of man, there's this book called The Stages. I think it's called The 5 Stages of Man or something. And it talks about the stages and where you should be at. You have to always know who you are and what stage you're in. We're not always in good places. You know what I mean? And it's a continuous thing. That's what the Prophet taught us. So that's why we have to be cognizant of that when dealing with each other, because you don't know what stage somebody's in and where they're at. But individually, we have to know where we are. You know what I mean? You got to know when your iman is low and you're behaving that way. And we shouldn't shame each other for it. Like it should be an understanding. You know what I mean?
Okay. What did you learn about marriage and relationships from your parents' marriage and friendships that you ended up benefiting from? Yeah, before being Muslim and after.
Well, my parents were not married. They
Okay.
shacked up. My father was married prior to meeting my mother. He got divorced, moved from Mississippi to New Jersey, met my mother, and his father told him, don't marry nobody else, just shack up with him. And that's what he did. And he lived his life the way that he wanted,
Okay.
right? He did what he wanted, came and went as he wanted, and he took care of us financially. He didn't raise us, he didn't involve himself in that. My mother wouldn't allow it. She just was like, you take care of them, that's it. And she did everything in between. And so that was the model. They didn't sleep together, none of that. So that was not knowing to us, that was normal. But, hindsight, that was some dysfunctional stuff going on, right? So the good thing is they've always worked and they were great providers. I know how to do that very well.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
That's financially, but emotionally, like, are
So,
you a
so,
good
that,
counselor
so,
at home too?
so there was none. My parents never told us they loved us. My mother didn't start saying it until she was forced to right before she passed. My father never hugged me. He wouldn't touch us. He would never tell us he loved us. He didn't talk to us. There was no real communication. It was go do this, go do that. So they were from the South, from Mississippi. And I don't really know much about my mother's father. I knew my grandmother's. My grandfather, my father's side, one named after Joe Nash. He was
Okay.
already deceased when I was born. So, and my mother's father, we don't know who he was or is. We never saw a picture of him. So it tells me she didn't have a great relationship with a man. And for all I know, her father could have been my grandmother's boss, slave master that she worked for. I don't know. It
Okay.
was a secret. So the name Spencer, right?
Hmm.
So I don't know who my grandfather was from my mother's. So she never talked about her history and neither did he. So we just watched him growing up. We never was communicated to about life with him.
So that leave you with a blank slate, somewhat to
Huh?
work from? Did that leave you with a blank slate to work from? Did that give you like a bigger canvas to work from? Because now you can create,
Well,
that
so
kind of
when I
life.
turned 18, I had a lot of questions. And my mother said, I can't help you. Go figure it out. So they never imparted information. Whatever we learned in school, that's what we learned. We was on our own there. Neither one of them graduated school, high school. Father never made it out of elementary. He grew up in a different time in Mississippi. He was
Hmm.
born in the 30s. So they didn't finish school. They had to work, right? My mother was born in the 40s. She came up here without finishing high school, chasing behind her older sister. They wanted to figure out the big city life. And so I don't, one thing, they were great providers. You know what I mean? They didn't give us any verbal communicate. Like we didn't get that. They didn't talk like that to us.
But they didn't talk down to you either.
Oh, we got cursed out and beat by my mother.
Okay.
Yeah. I was got my ass beat and she cursed. They talked straight to us. That's why I had thick skin. It was
Okay.
nothing was held back. But they were still loving in their own way, and we understood it.
Okay.
So that's what it was, though.
Okay. What do you like about women outside of the all the accomplishments, achievement stuff? What do you like about women?
The biggest thing for me is intellect. With intellect, there's endless possibilities. If I'm into your intellect, I don't care what you look like on the outside, none of that. I look for that deeper connection. So for me, the intellect is a beautiful thing. Everything else is just like side things, it's extra. But intellectually, if we can't connect, I'm going to suffer in that relationship.
Okay. So, what kind of feminine energy does the ideal intellect give off for you?
See, the thing about energy is it's based on the person.
Right.
So like, so like with my parents, right? They didn't tell us they love us. I'm the opposite of that with my children, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and they didn't hug on us, and it wasn't intimate. So some people say, "Oh, you're not. What's the word? Like you don't like to be intimate."
Affectionate.
If I'm not, it's because I'm not connecting intellectually.
Okay.
So I can't. So it's all based on the energy, right? So if the energy and all that stuff is there, then all those things go away.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna be all in your face. We're gonna be, you know what I mean? I'm gonna
Okay.
be. So that's what it is for me.
So you're a true sapiosexual.
That's what they
I
call
mean,
it.
that's called.
That's
Yes.
what they call it. Because I'm all in at that point. I'm all in.
That's not funny. That's it. Okay. Alhamdulillah. Let me see. Now, how long have you been married?
Wow. About 6 years, 5, 6 years, 6 years.
Okay. And what attracted you to your current wife? Oh, and are you looking for a polygynous situation?
I've never looked for that. I've always had people approach me. It's not something that that has to happen for me. And I
Mm.
don't, my pocket's not really fat. So, and I'm old fashioned in a way, right? Because the old fashioned me wants to be able to provide and do everything. But in
Mm-hmm.
today's society, right, it doesn't play out like that. So, but one of the things that when I first met her, I could see that she was a seeker, right? And
Okay.
that she was a seeker,
Mm-hmm.
that she was trying to discover herself, right? That rawness, right? The innocence, and aside from everything that like happened to you in life, like you're still seeking and trying to evolve. That was the connection, and she's beautiful. So
Alhamdulillah.
and there's 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 other connections in different ways.
Mm-hmm.
She's she's talented. So there were connections from different different things. You know, so
Okay. How how would that become a polygynous situation?
my current situation.
Right.
Well, I can't afford another wife, so I don't know. And number two, women are a lot. Relationships require a lot.
I mean.
So, and let's be clear, my father lived his life the way he wanted, and I did the same when I got into dating, right? So I did wherever I wanted, when I wanted, how I wanted to do it. So that was my orientation. So Islam obviously kept that. So when I became Muslim, I got rid of all those relationships and became abstinent, right? So that was me at 21 years old, right? So fast forward, I thought I wanted multiple wives back then, but the older I get, and if you obviously know what the Quran says about having multiple wives, I
Yes.
don't know anybody that could really meet that criteria. It's a dangerous thing.
Mm.
It's a dangerous thing. But in our culture, having multiple women is kind of, if you come from certain environments, it's a thing. But piety is important, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not pious enough to be able to handle that responsibility from Allah,
Uh,
you know?
yeah. Alhamdulillah to know that about yourself.
Yeah, I mean that's now because I've been up and down, right? So I know what it looks like. And even in times where I felt like I was pious enough, I still wasn't in a position to do that or looking for it. But I had been approached. So
So you study history and people, right? In your line of work, right?
yes.
Like okay, community trends, all that. Okay. What do you think was the tipping point for the breakdown between our men and women? Like what happened?
In this society,
Our society.
oh, it started with school and daycare back in the day. They
How
found a
so?
way they found a way to break up the family because women started working, putting kids in daycares, kids started going to school, right? And it became somebody else's responsibility to educate. If you look at our history, we educated our own,
Right.
right? So once that stopped, the connection was lost, right? And as a result of that, the independent mindset came where it was every person for themselves. I can do for me now. I don't necessarily need you, right? And then as a result of that, that means I'm not running to get married. So now, but we still gonna have sex, right? Now we got some bastard children. And what did the Prophet Muhammad say about bastard child? They're wrath on society.
Yeah.
So this problem we have today is as a result of that. That's what's going on.
So
In real
marriage,
quick nutshell. Hmm?
yeah. So the solution would be to get married, right?
The
But you have
solution is, well,
go
see,
ahead.
marriage, no, it's not about just getting married. It's about the self-discovery, healing. If we're not healed, then what are we getting married for? You just as crazy as me. So now our children are crazier. It's transference going on here. We're making our own children crazy. Nobody else doing that. We've done that. Nobody did that. Even though there's things that society has put in place to railroad us, right?
Mhm.
But we have enough knowledge. We're very intelligent. We're intelligent enough to be the most economically, we feed every other culture but our own. We're still being raped mentally, emotionally, financially. Nothing's changed, just the circumstances to make it look like it's changed. Because every now and then they throw boatloads of money at us.
Breadcrumbing. Yeah.
It's all a game. That's why they say I like that meme. There's a bunch of people sitting at a table playing a game, and they said, we all just stand up. The
Hmm.
game's over, right? But we still want to play the game because we think the game come from them. The game come from us. Mansa Musa. They learned the game from us. They went over there to that place that they refer to as Africa and saw that people were civilized and came up with a plan to steal that and to take that and to stop that. And they took that model and implemented themselves. So we always were the game changers, the models. So we just got to return to who we are. It's already in us, but we got to heal because all we're doing in these marriages is hurting each other. Some people, you know, I got friends who been married forever, but I'm gonna be real with you. My core group of friends, we've all been divorced. You know what I mean? And I'm talking educated people,
Yeah.
PhD, masters, great jobs, but crazy as a bag of nails collectively. Crazy. People need to heal, and they don't know how. Healing, you don't wake up and grow up and there's some blueprint inside of you that says this how you heal. It's a skill. It's like any other skill. You have to goddamn learn it. We don't want to go learn no new shit. We stuck on stupid. You know, it's alhamdulillah for Islam.
I mean,
Because that's what some of us use to manage. We're still not healed altogether, right? You can just be Muslim. I watch in some communities, right? Because I'm a mental health professional, I can detect when somebody has mental health. And I've seen people from different cultures in the masjid, right? Doing certain things, like they can't sit still, right? And these people are driving cars and everything, but they have severe mental illness, right? But because they're still able to pray and drive and do certain things, right? You don't see it. The regular eye doesn't see it, but I see it. And I'm saying this joke ain't got no business being up in here because he's doing fidgety stuff. It's making me nervous. So now here I am, supposed to be focused on Allah. I'm in here watching, making sure this cat don't jump off the deep end. You know what I mean? And it ain't us, it's people from other cultures too.
true.
They know how to mask their mental illnesses. And Islam becomes the front. Religion becomes the front, the cover. Because in there, as long as we see somebody that pray, our guard go down. But me, I'm like, no, he got a tick. He keep pacing and walking and looking at people doing all this and that. And nobody's paying attention until he pop off on somebody. And then it's too late. So people need to heal and they need to learn how to manage. And they got to be honest about their sickness. You got to be real transparent. You got to say, yo, I'm toxic and this is why.
But how, when does a toxic person say, I'm toxic? Like,
But
I
that's
need to
the
heal.
problem. That's the
Exactly.
problem. And that's why new relationships make me afraid. And that's why I was the way I was back then in those groups. I wasn't trying to connect with nobody off no social media. And I wasn't trying to be funny. I just was genuinely just trying to be friends, and that was it. I wasn't trying to do nothing, like, because I was afraid, honestly. They
Yeah.
kept putting me, they kept putting me in that one big group that was in Philly, Uma. I would leave it. Not because I thought I was better. It was because I see things differently.
Yeah.
And
It was stressful.
I didn't want to see all of that dysfunction
I mean, yeah.
on the social media. Like I don't need to see that. So I left those groups. The other one we used to clown each other in, that was a release. You know what I mean? We knew we was crazy, but you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
was nobody being ill. Like it was just all in fun. And it was just a way to let our crazy out. You
Mm.
know? And because we all was crazy,
Okay.
you know, but
Yeah, on different levels.
it is what it is. You got to be real about your level of crazy.
I mean,
You know?
yeah, I don't think people have felt very comfortable releasing their level of crazy unless it's almost to the degree of being disrespectful and invasive. You know, like there's a safe level of crazy, and then there's a you need to get it together level of crazy. So
Yeah,
you don't put it together well.
but
So
that's the
for
thing. So
yeah,
that person is not ready to be transparent and authentic. So that's why I don't mess with people on social media like that. Like social media for me is great because I could just respond with an emoji or a couple words and go on about my business. I don't have to connect to you. You feel me?
mm,
I
yeah,
if you study my post, it's not a lot of comments from me. Like even when me and you had that exchange that day, that was over the limit.
mm. I sense that. You know what? Yeah, even with distance and screen space, like a certain level of sensitivity makes you aware of certain things. You
Yeah,
know what I'm saying? Yeah. Even though you can't see a person's expression, You can pick up on attention if you
Yeah.
care. Yeah.
And
So,
but knowing you the way I do through social media, I consider you a friend. So I didn't take it no kind of way. But
alhamdulillah.
but I know you're not around me, so you don't know what I've been doing because I don't put my stuff on social media. I just see the clothes, and I've
But you
I've
reserve
been
presence.
I've been
Yeah.
doing it for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't promote when I'm at an event doing keynote speaking. I promote the brand. I use that to inspire people. You know what I mean? If I happen to make it with it, fine. Then I can do more. I can leave Uncle Tom's job and then I could really devote my time to the community and
Mm-hmm.
help people heal, including myself, right? But I didn't take it no kind of way because I took it. There were good intentions there. But I know you don't internally, intimately know me because I'm not a person that puts out what I do.
Right. But that's visible. You're a reserved presence online. That's visible. Like there's
I'm re-
nothing
I'm
to read into
I'm
that.
relatively open publicly, but I'm very transparent when I need to be. It's not for everybody. I'm not gonna be on social media saying, "Oh, I feel like shit today." Like, what's the point of that? Even though I never do, you know what I mean? But what's the point? Because my mind don't operate like that. It's built different. I put in a lot of work. So it's not that. It's you got to be careful. It's like for black people, food is important, right? So how you make your chicken, I don't make chicken like you do. I got my own style of ingredients. Even though some ingredients may be similar, it's not going to taste the same.
Mm-hmm.
You feel me? So
Yeah.
you got to be careful how you mix on social media. If you mix with the wrong ingredient, you don't get a bad taste. And because I know how I am, when I feel like somebody's getting ready to cross a line, I remove myself
Mm-hmm.
because I'm a person that pushes you back over the line when you cross it. You dig what I'm saying? I'm
Absolutely.
real. You know what I'm saying? So I was no killer on the street, but I'm well respected across the land. You know, and I just don't play with. I play and joke a lot, but I don't play. You know what I mean? I'm for real. You know, and when people don't really intimately know you, got to be careful on social media because people be thinking they know you because they've been friends with you for 10 years on social media, and that's dangerous. We don't know each other. This is being used to make us more divided and further away from each other. You know what I'm saying?
Visibly.
That's
Yeah.
what the social media is all about. It's desensitizing us. We got to understand what they're doing. Understand how to use the social media because these kids are losing it on this thing. They're losing it. I'm getting off social media, announcing it for 2 days. Man, just get off. Just say you having a breakdown because it's too much interaction with people at one time. It's not normal. You know how many notifications I get on all my pages? Can you imagine what my days are like? You think I want to go back and forth with somebody?
Overload. Yeah. No.
I got multiple Instagram pages, multiple Facebook pages, Twitter, Snapchat, TikTok. I'm on that shit all day. I don't want to be going back and forth with nobody. I ain't here for that. I don't have time for all of that. These notifications are out the wazoo. And I signed up for that. But that's what comes with this beast. So I don't allow the people that think they know me to trip me up. People want to trip you up because some of us are jealous. You know what I mean? And that's some real shit. People are jealous and they're envious of you. And that's not a good thing because we know what Islam says about those things.
Yeah. Why?
And a lot of Muslims are because it shows in their behavior and their actions. So
Right.
everything I do and say is calculated. but I'm always first trying to preserve me. I gotta preserve me first, not you. Because if I start focusing on you, at some point you're going to try to trip me up and indoctrinate me into what you want me to be. You feel me? That's the game. That's what relationships are. Why can't you just come home? Why can't you just do this? Why can't you just do that? My people's calling me, not even Muslim. Oh, she mad because I'm out 1 o'clock in the morning. Okay, then what's the solution here? Well, I got a business, I'm trying to do this and that. So listen, at this age, you got to pick and choose what you want to deal with, right? Because anybody that knows a person that's got a business, they ain't gonna have time for a lot of things if they really serious about their business. It requires so much, but you have to know how to balance all of this stuff. But if you limit, you gotta go hard. One of the phrases you go at 100%. I'm still not at 100% of my business because I work for somebody else. If I was able to go 100%, y'all get tired of me on social media. Because I'll be blitzing the hell out of social media. Because that's what it takes. That's what McDonald's do. That's what Amazon does. Right? So you got to do what they do. So because the owner has buildings, he don't have to do it himself. He just pays a team to keep McDonald's and Burger King and Staples and all these corporations at the front of our eyes. Every time you click on something, even if you say a certain word, the ads start coming. They're indoctrinating us every day. They've been doing that since we've got here or been here. They've taken over our minds. So the last thing we need to do is be fighting with each other. We need to be trying to come up with this plan on how we're going to nation build and take our relationship and create something, a legacy. You know, and that's where I'm at. I'm a nation builder, and I connect with those who are nation builders currently, and it's me. Some people are afraid to go to that level. They talk it on social media, but they will not put in the work. They fake soldiers. Meanwhile, I've been out here in these communities, in these homes, trying to help people in Atlanta, Philly, Cali, Jersey, all over the place, New York. Like, I be in these trenches. That's who the urban scholar is. I ain't gonna never leave that. I don't care how it get. You feel me? Because we don't have any more Malcolms coming. You feel me?
You don't think so?
There's people that have potential, but they're not living it out. Look around. Who do you call your leader? Who's your leader?
That's now. That's now. I have Quran, I have Sunnah, I have different people who are worth listening to. But when it comes down to it, is there a person? I would take my husband as my leader. That's who I would take as my leader at this point. But I do not have one. So when that person is made plain to me, then that's who my leader will be.
So you see our dilemma, right? Prophet Muhammad sallallahu is our leader, right? He set the example. He set the example, right?
Correct. You're talking about right here, right now, in person.
Yeah. So, but the point is, this is the sunnah. It's to learn from the leader. See, this is we getting indoctrinated. The sunnah is very simple. He sat down, he taught. The angel came and taught him. Right? You and your husband should be operating like that. You should be, right? This is what should be going on in the homes, and it's not. You getting, oh, I'm not listening to him. I don't even respect him like that.
SubhanAllah.
I don't even like her like that. I ain't got time for that. I'm chasing this girl. Right? That's what's going on. That's why we can't get nowhere. Nobody on the same page. Nobody really want to follow the sunnah in the way that it makes sense today. Who's going to Teach us the sunnah to make it relevant for us today. We not on horses no more, right? Ain't no wars happening, civil wars with other communities around here. The war is up here. It's social media. That's the new war. It's something that's not difficult. It's all about learning and applying. That's all you got to do. But you got to learn from somebody who knows it and understands it. Not somebody that just read a book. Islam ain't just reading a book and teaching it. It's deeper than that. Wisdom is very key. And yeah, a lot of people out here talking, dropping videos, and they ain't got no wisdom. Everybody getting dazzled by the speech. We all know the verse in the Quran about that person that's going to dazzle you with their speech. And yet they're going to be the worst potential enemies for you. You don't even know it. Because you dazzle. They sound good. Or they look good. Or I like his beard. Or I like that sister. She look good. She dropping that. You know? Like it's all the wrong reasons, man. And we all, as striving Muslims, should be competent and comfortable enough to learn the deen to be able to assess who's good enough to teach us. And even though we know the basics, right?
Right.
It's not really happening.
Question. Do you offer family counseling? And can someone find you on social media to request a like consultation or one-on-one?
I don't do therapy. I'm a coach. I haven't taken on any clients. If I
Okay.
do, there are fees.
Okay.
You
Yeah,
know?
that's what we, yeah, because it costs to heal. You know, there's
So,
nothing wrong
so
with fee stability law. So,
but what I do is I charge like an initial fee so I can assess, even if I want to take you on as a client, because I'm not doing therapy, I'm coaching. So you have to kind of be at a point where you're ready to make some changes, because this is my time and my energy. So that's because I've been doing it for free for years, and my friends like, you got to stop, right? So I stopped. So it's not that I'm looking for clients, but if I feel like somebody's at a point where I assess them and I feel like they're ready to go and they're ready to make these strides, then those are the clients I take on. You know what I mean?
yes.
So
Yeah.
I do have a YouTube page, the Urban
Drop it.
Scholar, the
Thank
Urban
you.
Scholar. You can always check out the videos on there. They, videos are timeless. I
Mhm.
talk about the 7 frames, and I always tell the new clients, you got to go watch the videos, the 7 frames in order, 1 through 7, right? And then, because what I'm gonna do is part of my assessment, I'm gonna see if you listen, if you understood, and where you are. Because that's how I assess where you at. And if I don't feel like you're ready, I'm not gonna take your money. Because what's gonna happen is, I remember when I was in Philly, when I was actively doing it, people were signing up, they were developing their 10-year plans, and then they said, oh, this joker just took my money. I can't go out and implement it for you. It's your plan.
Mm.
If you sitting there looking at it like it's going to jump out and everything going to start happening, that's not my job. My job is to help you create the blueprint and help you gain some wisdom and insight so you can grow.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So I'm not necessarily looking for that. But like I said, I have to assess a person and see if that's something they want to do. You
Okay.
know?
All right. Alhamdulillah. Well, thank you for joining us on Serious and Sincere and kicking off
Alhamdulillah.
our Sapio month of
Thank,
November.
thank you for
Yeah.
having me. It's been an honor.
Yeah, it has been a real pleasure. Okay, because it's been years and I never got to get this close. Pardon me. Yeah, I never got
Alhamdulillah.
this close. But yes, I
Alhamdulillah.
appreciate you
Appreciate it.
taking time.
You did
Yes,
a great job.
I did. I did a good
Yeah.
job. Thank you. Okay. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.